From Space Launch Complex 37 at Cape Canaveral Air Force Base, this is United Launch Alliance presents live Delta IV launch coverage. On board the Delta IV today, WGS-5, the 5th Wideband Global SATCOM system mission for the United States Air Force.
Ready to go for launch. Roger, go for launch.
T-minus 3, 2, 1.
Atlas engine ignition.
Liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Delta IV Heavy rocket.
This is Delta Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes in holding. Launch countdown is currently in a planned 45-minute hold. This hold is designed to allow launch conductor Doug LeBeau and his team time to conduct final work before countdown resumes. However, at this time, the team is not working any issues. Our 30-minute launch window this evening opens at 8:27 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Good evening and welcome to Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. I'm Howard Voyan and I will be your commentator for tonight's launch. Following liftoff, we'll have Steve Agid will be providing launch ascent data. Later in the broadcast, I'll be joined by Colonel David Goldstein from the Air Force Space and Missile System Center. Colonel Goldstein is the Deputy Director of the Military Satellite Communications Systems Directorate. His organization is responsible for all Air Force communication satellite acquisitions. As I mentioned, WGS-5 is the 5th satellite in the Wideband Global SATCOM system. Built by Boeing Space and Intelligence Systems, WGS is an important element of the new high-capacity satellite communications system providing enhanced communication capabilities to the U.S. and Allied warfighters for the next decade and beyond. Each WGS satellite provides more wideband communications capacity than the entire defense satellite communications system the constellation WGS is augmenting. The launch team recently received the final weather briefing and was told that weather was in the launch commitment criteria for this evening's liftoff. So we are proceeding towards liftoff with a planned T0 of 8:27 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. ULA is using the Delta IV Medium Plus 5.4 configuration to launch the WGS-5 mission. This is the 22nd Delta IV Evolved Expendable Launch Vehicle mission since the inaugural flight in 2002 and the 3rd flight of the Medium Plus 5.4. The Delta IV is produced in Decatur, Alabama, and is comprised of a common booster core powered by the Pratt & Whitney Rocketdyne RS-68 engine, 4 Alliant Tech Systems solid rocket motors, and a Delta cryogenic second stage powered by the Pratt & Whitney Rocketdyne RL-10B engine. The WGS satellite is encapsulated in a 5-meter diameter payload fairing, which occurred on April 25th. The encapsulated payload fairing was transported to Space Launch Complex 37 and mated to the Delta IV launch vehicle on May 7th. In preparation for launch, the Mobile Service Tower, or MST, is rolled back, revealing the Delta IV launch vehicle. The 33-story MST weighs over 9 million pounds and is rolled to its launch position 300 feet north of the Delta IV launch vehicle. The Delta IV stands 217 feet tall, or about 20 stories, and weighs approximately 900,000 pounds fully fueled. It delivers nearly 1 million pounds of thrust off the launch pad. For those watching the broadcast, you're looking at video taken yesterday at Space Launch Complex 37 as final launch preparations were completed. This is Delta Mission Control at T-4 and holding, and we continue to progress towards a launch at 8:27 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The animation you'll see after liftoff is referred to as Satellite Toolkit or STK. STK uses real-time telemetry data during the flight to track the path of the launch vehicle beyond the range of the ground-based cameras. While the team completes final preparations, let's take a closer look at tonight's flight.
The following profile details the important events of this mission using approximate times. The Delta IV rocket will launch a WGS or Wideband Global SATCOM satellite for the U.S. Air Force.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, +1. Liftoff.
The Delta RS-68 main engine and 4 strap-on solid rocket motors ignite to lift the vehicle away from the pad. Shortly after liftoff, the Delta begins its initial pitch and yaw maneuvers to attain the proper ascent profile and minimize aerodynamic loads. Delta IV reaches Mach 1, the speed of sound, at 36 seconds. At 50 seconds, the vehicle reaches maximum dynamic pressure. The strap-on solid rocket motors, or SRMs, burn out approximately 94 seconds into flight. At 1 minute 40 seconds, the first 2 SRMs are jettisoned. 2 seconds later, the remaining 2 solid rocket motors are jettisoned. At 240 seconds into the flight, the RS-68 engine initiates throttle down to 57%. Approximately 7 seconds before booster engine cutoff, the RS-68 reaches MPL, or minimum power level. The payload fairing is jettisoned at 3 minutes 27 seconds. Approaching main engine cutoff, the Delta IV is burning propellant at a rate of approximately 151 pounds per second, flying at more than 109 miles in altitude and 237 miles downrange. Main engine cutoff occurs just over 4 minutes into the flight. After main engine cutoff, the first stage is jettisoned. Second stage engine ignition takes place at 4 minutes 27 seconds into the flight. The second stage and WGS satellite are now in the first burn, the longer of the 2 second stage engine firings. Following the first second stage engine cutoff at approximately 20 minutes, the mission enters a coast phase. Just over 28 minutes into flight, the second stage engine is reignited for the second and final burn. Following the second stage engine cutoff, the second stage and payload enter a coast period in preparation for spacecraft separation. At 40 minutes into the mission, the second stage releases Wideband Global SATCOM satellite for the United States Air Force.
This is Delta Mission Control at T-4 minutes and holding. Tonight's launch is dedicated in memory of ULA employee Tim Hodgins. As a quality inspector for the launch operations team, Tim was responsible for verifying flight hardware compliance with engineering and test standards, as well as the corresponding documentation, maintenance, and inspection records. Prior to his 10-year career with ULA, Tim served 14 years in Army aviation as a member of a Black Hawk helicopter flight crew, where he saw combat duty in the Gulf War and Somalia. Tim was a proud father and an inspiring teammate. His coworkers will remember his homemade barbecue, uncanny sense of humor, and the professionalism and dedication he brought to his job each day.
L-10 minutes. All communications switch to channel 1. All personnel and visitors remain in present position until launch. Maintain operational silence in the LCC.
This is LC with a terminal count briefing. If a condition exceeds a launch constraint any time after the terminal count status check, the observer shall announce hold, hold, hold on channel 1, identify their station, and briefly state the reason for the hold.
LCFMA primary wind load relief file has been loaded into RIVCA and verified. Checksum is 6 Echo 98.
Roger.
This is Delta Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. We remain in the planned 45-minute built-in hold as preparations for launch continue. Launch conductor Doug LeBeau will pull the team in a few moments for the final go to resume the Delta IV launch countdown. 31 engineers and managers will be polled for system status and readiness to proceed with the launch. This is the final status check before launch of all Delta vehicle systems, ground systems, the spacecraft, and the U.S. Air Force Eastern Range. The vehicle systems readiness poll includes electrical systems, hydraulics, pneumatics, propulsion systems, flight control, and propellants. Final processing steps just prior to launch include completing propellant topping for both vehicle stages, securing propellant tanks, and pressurizing tanks to flight pressures. Let's listen to Doug LeBeau perform the final polling of the launch team.
L-minus 7 minutes.
Status check to proceed with terminal count. MEQ.
Go.
MEA.
Go.
HYE.
Go.
LOX 1.
Go.
LOX 2.
Go.
VP.
Go.
PNE.
Go.
BP.
Go.
ATC 1.
Go.
PEA.
Go.
Fuel 1.
Go.
Fuel 2.
Go.
TM 1.
Go.
ATC 3.
Go.
TM 2.
Go.
FMA.
Go.
VE.
Go.
EEA.
Go.
GE.
Go.
SYS.
Go.
DSE.
Go.
Timer.
Go.
ECS.
Go.
SC.
Go.
QE.
Go.
OSM.
Go.
VSE.
VSC is go.
ALC.
Go.
AC.
AC is go.
RC.
Range, weather, and clear to proceed.
LD.
MD, the launch vehicle is ready to launch.
MD.
Yeah, permission to launch.
Proceeding with the count. MEQ. Establish swing arm lock pins pull.
Active.
SY. Establish record on change list activated.
Activated.
L-minus 6 minutes.
Polling is complete and the launch team has given the go for launch. The countdown will resume at T-minus 4 minutes in approximately 2 minutes. At T-minus 4 minutes, the team will enter the terminal count and will begin securing the second stage liquid oxygen tank. At T-minus 3 minutes 32 seconds, CBC liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen tank securing is started, which includes closing the propellant fill and drain valves. Also, at T-minus 3 minutes 32 seconds, vehicle transfer from ground facility power to its own internal battery power will be complete. At T-minus 3 minutes, the vehicle ordnance system will be armed and the CBC liquid oxygen, liquid hydrogen propellant tanks are verified to be at flight pressure and flight level. At 2 minutes prior to liftoff, the team will verify that the hydraulic system is pressurized as well as confirm CBC, DCSS, and FTS battery voltages. At 1 minute and 20 seconds, the team will begin securing the second stage liquid hydrogen tank. At T-minus 60 seconds, the Eastern Range readiness is verified. At T-minus 50 seconds, the DCSS liquid hydrogen tank is secured at flight level. At T-minus 15 seconds, the ROFIs, or sparklers, are ignited to burn off excess hydrogen. Liftoff will occur at T0 and is responsible for all Air Force communication satellite acquisitions. As I mentioned, WGS-5 is the 5th satellite in the Wideband Global SATCOM system. Built by Boeing Space and Intelligence Systems, WGS is an important element of the new high-capacity satellite communications system providing enhanced communication capabilities to the U.S. and Allied warfighters for the next decade and beyond. Each WGS satellite provides more wideband communications capacity than the entire defense satellite communications system the constellation WGS is augmenting. The launch team recently received the final weather briefing and was told that weather was in the from Space Launch Complex 37 at Cape Canaveral Air Force Base. This is United Launch Alliance presents live Delta IV launch coverage. On board the Delta IV today, WGS-5, the 5th Wideband Global SATCOM system mission for the United States Air Force.
Range, go for launch. Roger, go for launch.
T-minus 3, 2, 1.
Atlas engine ignition.
Liftoff.
Eastern Daylight Time. Good evening and welcome to Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. I'm Howard Voyan and I will be your commentator for tonight's launch. Following liftoff, we'll have Steve Agid will be providing launch ascent data. Later in the broadcast, I'll be joined by Colonel David Goldstein from the Air Force Space and Missile System Center. Colonel Goldstein is the Deputy Director of the Military Satellite Communications Systems Directorate. His organization...
Off of the United Launch Alliance Delta IV Heavy rocket.
This is Delta Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes in holding. Launch countdown is currently in a planned 45-minute hold. This hold is designed to allow launch conductor Doug LeBeau and his team time to conduct final work before countdown resumes. However, at this time, the team is not working any issues. Our 30-minute launch window this evening opens at 8:27 p.m.